So day 1 is cave, and the animal that I thought of was bat. So I started drawing it as I would draw a bat. I drew it upside down, and then I tried to make him into like a little monster. I did this weird triangular bat, and then I drew this one, and I really kind of liked it. It almost looks like a rabbit bat, and he's got these tiny little wings. So I really drew him up here with this mouth, but he looks too much like a rabbit in this one, I think. And then I did a couple of little more tests with like some stripy legs, some big eyes. This one looks like he's got a little piggy nose, but I think I'm gonna go with this one. And on every page I've marked them with a star, which is the one that I want to go with. My plan is just literally maybe use a colored pencil, like a light one like this, to doodle him out, and then basically just color him in. I'm not sure what colors, I'll just pick the colors that come to me. You know, the muse will come to me, and then yeah, I'm gonna give myself maybe 20 minutes. I wanted these to be quick and fast and not too much pressure, so that's it. That's loud. So we just gotta get going now, haven't we? Stop procrastinating, April. Come on. Maybe I should do some warm-ups first. Okay, I'm warmed up. I timed myself and it took 12 minutes to do that, which I'm happy with. I got a little bit on my fingers, which is not a problem. I'm gonna take this into Procreate, like I mentioned, and probably go around his eyes, because the problem is with these boys, they're very chunky. So probably just go around his eyes, maybe tidy up the wings, and then get rid of like smudges on the side here that I've done with my fingers. But yeah, that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. I basically want to keep this like super simple. The most fun part was coming up with the sketches, honestly. And I think if these don't turn out, like if I don't end up liking this series, I can probably just revisit these sketches and do them differently. But I've got a feeling I'm gonna like this. Like, this is fun. Anyway, that's day 1. I just drew the second little guy. He's for Dandelion. These were the sketches. This one looks the most like a rabbit, I think. This one also looks like a rabbit. I changed the fluffy tail here to a long tail just to make him look a little bit less like a bunny. I actually also really loved this character too, but I like this guy in the end the most. But this guy's also fun. I just love all the guys. And I'm gonna do the dandelions like this. I might do some leaves actually. I forgot to do some leaves. While I do some leaves, I'll just let you know. Oh, where's the pen? Okay, so I have found out actually that the Neocolors, probably should have known this. Neocolors are very difficult to do in small. I almost wish I had an A3, like I'd done these in A3, because trying to get like tiny little details, even the stripes here or like the hands, is very difficult. So I'm extremely glad and happy that I'm going to be putting them into Procreate so I can do the line work. I did it just now with the other one, a cave, and it turned out pretty well. I haven't done too much. I might show the Procreate version of number 2 so you can kind of see what I did. But yeah, also the fingers get very messy, and it's very hard to kind of see what you're doing because this is so fat. This is so fat that the crayon is so fat that it kind of hides where you're putting the mark. And also I find myself leaning really close to the paper, so my eyes are basically on the paper, which isn't probably the best posture. But yeah, it's been fun. I like this little dude. I did him in yellow for Dandelion, and I'm doing the dandelions like white, you know, like when they're poofy, On to the next one, day 3. It's been literally 30 seconds since I spoke to you. The next one for day 3 is Cowboy, and I'm trying to do animals. So I was thinking, what animals were around in cowboy times? And I thought of the bison, the noble bison, and because they have such a fun, like this is basically, I drew kind of the shape but made it into a monster there. And I don't know why I wanted to draw it sitting down for some reason, and it ended up sitting on a stool. So I think I'm going to do this one here, this little sketch in the top corner here, with big old horns. He's drinking a cup of tea and he's sitting on a little stool for some reason, and he's got little birds on him because I thought that would be cute as well. And then I also did a little close-up of the hands here holding the teacup. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work with the Caran Dache, but we shall see. I'm going to do everything in the sketchbook, and then I'm going to film the Procreate for you, just to switch it up a bit. Alright, we are now on day 4, which is tiger. And for tiger, I drew a tiger. So I tried to make them look like a monster tiger. I did them standing up. I did this little guy, which I actually really love. It's kind of the same head that I tried for this guy, with like a big head and little body. And I haven't got one like this yet, but I thought this one guy was cute. But then I did just this tiger here with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 legs. And I don't know, I like this one better. So yeah, this is what I'm going to do today. Pretty simple. I might actually turn the book this way, long ways, so I can do them on the page. Let's get going. It's day 5, and as you can see from this blank page, I have no ideas. The word is bow or bow. So I was thinking either an animal bowing down. The only animal I can think of that bows is a dog, but I'm not quite sure what the dog would be doing. And then the one for bow is literally just an animal with a bow. So I was thinking like the cutest animal ever, maybe like a panda, and with a bow on its head, but like it still looks like a monster. So I just found some pictures of dogs but bowing, and I'm just gonna, normally if I don't really know what I'm doing, I'm just draw what it is and then see if I like it and make something out of that. I was thinking maybe it could be bowing to its like master demon or something, but I don't know why. Be like looking up like this. Hi. I don't know what he would be bound to, unless he's bound to his cat overlord. Turn Digby into a monster. Don't know, I don't like that idea. Let's try cute panda. Maybe he'd be like holding some flowers or something. Kind of literally like this one here that I was going to do, but make him a panda. And I don't know why, but I've been enjoying putting little heels on the shoes, like they're wearing little heeled shoes. I think that's just cute. And do pandas have tails? They do, right? Like this. I'll do his nose up here. I like drawing the noses really high on the face for some reason. And he'll be smiling maybe. Oh yeah, that looks funny. He's like smiling, but he's also Kind of looks a bit sneaky. So he's, yeah, I like that, it's funny. Okay, so I think we're gonna do like this kind of body with a bouquet with this face, and I will pop back when I've done the final drawing. Alright, this one's very simple. I did end up, the problem with taking the stickers off is it gets all over your hands. But I worked on this little guy. Halfway through, as I was drawing him, I thought, wait a minute, if he's going on a date, he could be wearing a bow tie. So I popped him in a bow tie. I think I'm going to change the colour of this flower in Procreate because I want the bow tie to really pop out. So I might make this flower like a light blue or a light purple. And then I also might lighten the cheeks off, and I'll go around the tail obviously. And also with the hair, I might make it a different colour. Yeah, these are some things that I'll change just because I think this doesn't look like hair, it looks like a big bump here. And using the fat crayons, like there's no real points on these, so I've been trying to use the tiny edge of them, but I didn't want to do it on the tail just in case I made a huge mess. So yeah, I'll do that in Procreate. But I think he's pretty cute. He's gonna go on his date. I don't know what I'm gonna call him, but yeah, I'll show you the Procreate after so you can see the difference. Day 6, the prompt was tree, and I wanted to do a monkey, obviously. Monkeys live in trees. So I started with some like super random generic monkeys, and then I found this one monkey, I forgot the name of him, but he's got this really long nose, and I thought that was super cute. So I drew him in this little tree, and I didn't know why, I just popped a crown on his head because I thought he kind of looked a little bit like a king. And yeah, I forgot to film anything for it, but this is the sketch I did. So this is the sketch. I'm kind of running out of colours. I mean, I have a lot of colours, but you can only really do like all green, all blue, all purple, or yellow, I guess. So a lot of them kind of have similar colours. But yeah, this little dude's sitting in a tree, and I fixed him up in Procreate afterwards. And I did all of these today, so I haven't filmed anything because I kind of forgot I was making this video. But this one is for day 7. This is potion. So I was thinking something to do with witches, and then I was thinking I had this little person here, and I wanted to do something like witchy, spooky. So I thought of a crow or a raven. So yeah, I drew a couple of them, and then I thought I'd make him into a little wizard. So he's got a little star wand and a potion and a stripy hat. He's just a little crow. So this is the image I made in my sketchbook. I'm just laughing because it's been really tough to use these. The blunter they get, the harder it is to use them, and like I try and do little details with them, but it's really difficult. I also think that I'm kind of getting a bit lazy because I know that I'm just gonna scan it in Procreate. So like this isn't as perfect as, you know, the first one that I did. If we compare the two, see how like perfect and clean this is. I didn't have to do much tidy up at all, and this one is just smudges everywhere. The stars are just blobs, so I'm gonna have to do a lot of tidy up on that one. Then the one that I just finished filming now, and I just finished making it, was the prompt is mask. This is for day 8. And I made this little raccoon, and he's still in a pumpkin, and I really love this little character. I thought he was so cute. So on some of these prompts it took me a while to figure out what to draw, and on some of them I just drew and the first thing I loved. So I just finished filming this one, which you probably saw, and I actually need to do the eyes. So I'm going to do the eyes, and I've been fixing all the eyes up in Procreate anyway. But you can see here I've made the eye too small, smudged it here a bit. This one actually isn't too bad really. But yeah, I really love this colour combination with the greens and the cyans and the blues, and then this orange really pops. I'm going to try and give him a little bit of a glow in Procreate, which I thought would be nice. And that's it. That's as far as I've gotten up to. So I'll try and remember to film more going forward. But we're currently up to day 8 and still going strong. So yeah, happy with that. So, okay, it's day 19 now, and I kind of forgot to film anything for the last 10 days. So we're going to do a rapid fire catch up on what we've been doing. So day number 9. Day number 9 was boulder, and a bit of a hard one. I basically googled what animals look like a boulder, and I came up with Cape Rain frog, which basically looks like this, kind of. So I made him look a little bit more like a boulder. This one here is hilarious. I went with this one, and I just did some little scribbles. I ended up giving him a little top hat, but I took that away in Procreate because I wasn't a huge fan at the end of that. I actually made him a little birthday hat and a balloon, so it looked like he was really sad because no one came to his birthday party, and I think that's a cuter story. Day number 10 was lantern, and obviously I had to do the anglerfish, which is very, very well known, probably from Finding Nemo. I thought, what could a lantern be good for? And I really enjoyed this little guy reading late into the night. I did something a little bit different for this one. I actually made the background completely blue and dark, and I'm not really sure if it's good. Like, I liked it for this image, but when I look at my feed and it's all white backgrounds and then this one random dark blue background, I kind of regret it, but you gotta try things, right? So yeah, I kind of like how the glow turned out on this one, and he seemed pretty popular online, so that was nice. Day number 11 was field. So I looked up field animals and I came up with the stoat, which I just drew. I found a stoat standing up that looked like this little dude, and I redrew him. I wanted to redraw him because I didn't like that pose, but this pose itself kind of reminded me of someone mowing the lawn, and I thought field, lawn, perfect. So I redrew him here, and I really liked just this, how the sketch turned out. And a little lawnmower, which I also redrew down here. I was gonna maybe put him with glasses on, sunnies on, but in the end I went with these little sunglasses here. And another one that I changed quite a bit in Procreate, because in the sketch here I did him like having a little tummy here, but I don't know, it kind of distracted from the head, and I wanted this to be a different color, so you kind of focused on his eyes here, and then also the lawnmower. So I basically just did a little side patch here, try to match up the colors from the skin here, and then in Procreate I smushed it together, and I think it turned out okay, actually pretty good. I like this one a lot. Day number 12, and we are in a completely different sketchbook. This one is lava, so I looked up animals that basically shot out lava or fire, and I came up with the bombardier beetle, which shoots out a noxious gas from his abdomen or his bum, and it's kind of like fire basically when it hits you. So I drew him a couple of times. My first thought was he's playing the floor is lava, so I drew him like this. Then I was going to draw him in the lava like he was having a little bath, and then I just drew him like a normal little beetle dude. In the end, I just really love this guy. I think it's because of his monobrow. I can't remember if I did that in Procreate. I think I did. Okay, yeah, I did. This is the picture, and this is actually probably my least favorite coloring in of anything, because but at this time I was running out of colors, and I just thought I'll just make him brown, and I made him brown with kind of like reds, but yeah, this is very heavy to me. Doesn't feel very like happy and light and cartoony, so I'm not a huge fan of this one. So moving on to day 13, I did the ring-eyed lemur. I can't remember. I did a lemur, and I did a couple of little bits with his tail. One of them, he was kind of like relaxing on his tail. The other one, his tail was so big it like wrapped around him. This one here, I was trying to redraw it again, but like maybe it was, I don't know. I'm not really sure what I was trying to do at this point, but I really liked this idea of him kind of like relaxing on his tail. So I did a little tiny little sketch down here, which I think the tail went a little bit too much tail. And then I used the blues and purples for this one, which I really like, and a little bit of tidy up in Procreate, and called this one a day. I actually added an arm, and I gave him a little drink because I kind of felt like he had to be doing something. So he's got a little cocktail and he's just relaxing after a day at work. Moving on to day 14. This is actually one of my favorite prompts I've done. This is town, and I started looking at different animals that kind of come into the towns. So there's like deer, and in colder parts of the world there's polar bears and things, or brown bears even. So I wanted to do a bear. I just really love bears, and my first idea was to have like this monster bear, and he's basically destroying town, kind of like Godzilla, but a bear. And then I thought it would be cuter if he didn't know he was destroying the town. He was just like chilling out, moving the houses around, playing. And I really like this one. I did him kind of very dark here, like dark blacks and blues. And then I made the houses yellowy. I didn't really like it when I took it into Procreate, so I actually did a little bit of color adjustment on the houses. I made them a little bit more red, and I added some shadows and the planes and everything, and the smoke. I did quite a lot on Procreate actually for this one, but I really love how it turned out, and I think it's a good example of how you can still use traditional even if you're using quite heavy digital. So on some of these I would say they're like 10% digital, and on others I'd say they're like 70% digital. It's nice to just try out different balances of the two different mediums. Day number 15 was shell. My first thought was a snail, which is probably a little bit, it's not very original, but hey. So I normally end up just doodling things until an idea comes to me. I drew this guy from the front, and it's like he's wearing the shell like it's strapped to him, and then I thought how cool would it be if he's got the shell like a little backpack. So I did this. And I did a couple of different mouths here. I really like this mouth, which also reminds me a lot of that character from Futurama. I forgot the name of him, but basically I stole that from Futurama. And I did him in pinks and oranges with a blue shell, and put some little flowers around him. And the story of this little guy is he's maybe outgrown his shell. He needs a bigger one, so he's gonna be shopping for one soon. Day 16 was trunk, and I just thought of an elephant. That's just where your mind goes when you think of a trunk. So I drew these. I tried to basically make the elephant into kind of like a monster. This is basically just like an elephant creature. I added like weird trunks here, and then I drew this one upside down because I thought it'd be fun if he was balancing on his trunk. It didn't really work, so I loved this shape, so I drew it again the right way up. And then in the corner here you can see tiny is actually the final image, where he's got a trunk and he's using it to drink with this really long straw. I don't know, I thought that was really funny. So this is the Neocolors. I used greens and blues. I really like this color combination with a lovely bendy straw, and tidied it up in Procreate, of course. So day 17 was snow. I basically just looked online to see what animals live in the snow. Obviously there's things like polar bears, penguins, but I kind of had already done, I wanted something that was a little bit different. So I went with the walrus, and I drew some walruses. This guy's making a snowman. This is like a Loch Ness walrus. And yeah, I couldn't really get the shape of him very well. And then I just drew this one very roughly, and I really liked him, just his head and like his weird snout here. He's not actually doing anything in the image, like, and also this is probably the least amount of work I did with the Neocolors, and the image in general. It's the quickest one. I kind of wanted him to fade into the background a little bit, and then in Procreate it was looking a little bit boring, so I added a pop of color with a little robin. Kind of, the robin was singing about spring, and the walrus is like, bro, chill out, we've got months until springtime comes, was my idea of the story. And yeah, I like it in the end. It's a very simple one, this one. So day 18 is wing, and wing or winged? Wing or winged? its wing. So I was thinking about all the different animals that have wings. I really have been enjoying drawing bees lately, so I wanted to go with a little bee, and my idea was to have this little bee, kind of a funny little face, and he's on a huge flower, or he's like a huge bee on a flower. I drew him in different ways. This one here is a little bit scary, but I went with this bee in the end, and I stuck him on this flower. It's very yellow and black. And I'm pretty sure I didn't do much else in Procreate. I just tidied it up. You can probably tell day 18 getting very messy now compared to day 1. So yeah, I'm kind of like being a lot looser, a lot rougher, because I just know that I'm going to be tidying it up in Procreate. And now we are on to day 19. Day 19 is today, by the way, so we're all caught up now. So for day 19, it's boot, and I decided to do a jerboa, which I believe that's how it's pronounced. Let me know if I'm wrong. A jerboa is a tiny little mouse little creature. He lives in the desert, and he's got these really long legs. He kind of hops around like a little kangaroo. Very, very cute. So I drew him kind of like how he looks, but added boots to him. And then I wanted something a little bit more interesting than just standing, so I decided to put him on a little stool, and he's pulling his boots on, and like there's one boot on the floor here. I really like this little guy, so I actually did this morning. I did him in like a yellow and orange, and made his boots quite dark, so like he's gonna be a very fashionable jerboa. And yeah, I still need to pop this into Procreate, so maybe I can try and remember to film some later. So that's day 19. I have, like I mentioned, completely forgot to film, because what I've been doing, actually last weekend I did 6 in an entire day, and then over the week I just did Procreate in the morning and then posted it like in the afternoon. So I've basically been doing that. I've been like conveyor belting the Neocolors and then doing a little bit every day on Procreate. But I will try and film a little bit more towards the end of the month. I hope that you're enjoying the video. I know that it's a little bit maybe like samey, like here's a sketch, here's the animal, but I thought it might be nice to kind of show my thought process on how I came up with the prompts, and yeah, a little bit like that, if that makes sense. I've only had 1 coffee today, guys, so I'm feeling it. I don't know if this is making any sense. I just wanted to pop in and say hi, and if you're still here, thanks for sticking around. I'm not sure how long this video is yet. I have to edit it, so hopefully it's not too long, but stick around for the last few days. We're almost at the end of the challenge. Let me know at day 19, were you still drawing, or had you taken a bit of a break from PEACHTOBER or your monthly challenge? And I'll see you later for the rest of Mr. Jerboa. Day 20 was very difficult for me. It was a spaceship. So I tried to think of an animal that was most like an alien, which was the water bear, which I believe is also called tardigrade. I'm not sure. They're called water bears, and they're like tiny bacteria basically. They're so kind of weird, cute, and I basically just tried to draw him and pop like some spaceshipy stuff on, astronauty stuff. This is my least favorite of the whole bunch. This is what he looks like, and I didn't really like the Procreate version that much better either. It's just a weird one, guys. It's just a strange one. Let's move on. For day 21, it was buns, and I wanted to do an animal that looked like he had buns on his head. I thought of, like, you know, animals with antlers, so moose, deer, Martin actually suggested to me to do a ram with the curly horns because that looks more like buns, but I'd already drawn this guy and I just really liked him, and I thought, hey, buns don't have to be round, they can be messy buns. So I did this little dude. I coloured him in green and blue, which is a little bit not really moose-like, but I like him a lot. I can't remember what I did in Procreate, I'll pop it on screen here. Let's see what I did. Did I just tidy it up? Did I add anything? Who knows? Day 22 was globe. So really globe, what can you do for globe? There's no really animals that kind of show the whole world. So I just thought, you know what, I'll do a lovely cat because I haven't done a cat yet. And this was the very first one that I drew, which ended up being the final. It's basically a space cat. So he's like a huge cat, maybe like he's the god, and he's got the globe on him. And I did him with little horns instead of ears. I ended up doing him in purples and blues, like spacey colours, and then the world. And yeah, I really like how this one turned out. Day 23 was sprout. I googled what animals like sprouts, like Brussels sprouts, because that's what I was thinking about. And a chipmunk apparently likes Brussels sprouts. So I drew the chipmunk in lots of different ways. This little fat dude here, this kind of like creepy guy. And then I thought, wouldn't it be cute if the chipmunk was growing a sprout instead of eating a sprout? So I drew this guy, and then in the end I decided to kind of put him sitting because this pose looked very similar to the bear that I had just done. So this is him here. It takes up a whole page, nice and big, and he's making his little sprout here, and he's got a few gardening tools around him, and I finished him off in Procreate, and yeah, I think this one's really cute. This one's probably one of my favourites. It's castle. So I immediately thought of king of the castle, king of the jungle, king of the animals, lion. So I drew this little lion sitting here, but it looked very similar to a couple that I'd already done. So I actually ended up drawing him again, and I just drew him like this with his hand here, and I didn't quite know where I was going with it. And then I thought, oh, it looks like he's in the bath. So I drew the bath around him, added a few little bits, like he's been relaxing in the bath. He's got his little portrait on the wall here, and I painted him. Can you paint with crayons? I drew him, coloured him in with crayons. Nice oranges, like a lion, stripy tail. I had just gotten my new gold Caran Dache, so I did gold for his crown. And yeah, I really like how this one turned out. I popped it into Procreate and tidied it up a little bit and called it a day. Day 25 was robot. So you can do any animal as a robot really, but have you guys ever heard of that that thing that went around for ages, that birds aren't real? It's called like birds aren't real, and it's basically this made up movement where they got whole people believing in it, that birds weren't real, they were robots from the government, and they were spying on us, and basically the government had killed all the birds and replaced them with drones. So I was thinking about that. I decided to do a robot bird. I did this guy for here, and he doesn't really look like a robot. He kind of looks more like a knight or something, like in armor. I drew this pigeon. I love these eyes, but they didn't really go with what I'd been drawing. So in the end, I made it very simple like this. Added some real birds around him, and then I drew it in robot-y colours, so purples and blues. The birds are basically blobs at this point. I tidied them up a little bit, in Procreate and added a few little bolts and lines for the patchwork of metal. But yeah, I like this one a lot. Day 26 was land, so I looked at animals that live underground or kind of like in the earth, and I came up with a whole bunch obviously, but I really liked the fennec fox. I love his ears and the shape of his head. He burrows underground, I believe, to get away from the sun and comes out at night time. He lives in the desert. So I drew him standing up here, I don't know why, and then I did this pose here and I really liked it. This is one of those occasions where I just kind of drew something and liked it, so I didn't have to go much further. So I did him very simply in orange, kind of desert colours with some cacti around him, and zhuzhed him up in Procreate. And yeah, that's my little fennec fox. I really like this character. So now we have possibly the weirdest creature for this day. It was day 27, C. So I did a sea creature. I really wanted to draw an octopus. I think they're really fun, like little characters. And I just started drawing him, big brain. I really wanted like the idea of him being in a floaty. So I did him in a little floaty with his tentacles coming out. Did one of those unicorn floaties that I've never actually seen in real life, only on television. And then because he has such a big space in his brain, I thought it would be cool to add like a little creature. So like they're almost a pair. There's a little creature living inside of him. And it turned out really fun. I did it a little bit messy here. I added quite a lot on Procreate. I put on heaps of tentacles and obviously tidied up the little jellyfish and everything. Yeah, I think it turned out really fun, and I think one of the comments on Instagram was, "What is this creature?" So I think I achieved, yes, I think I achieved what I wanted to, which was a very strange character. Day 28 was plant, and I knew that I wanted to draw a plant pot and an animal carrying the plant pot. I also was thinking about animals that live on plants or with plants, and I thought of the humble caterpillar, which actually on Instagram I wrote was a centipede, and he wasn't a centipede, he was a caterpillar, but I think I forgot at that point what I was drawing. So I just drew, this is the very first drawing, the very first doodle I did, which ends up being pretty much the character. And then I was just looking at a different face here, maybe adding dots to it, and the plant so I could see how the rope's attached and everything. I didn't know what colour to make this little dude, so I made him a rainbow. I think that's quite nice and colourful. And I popped him into Procreate, added all the little details. At this point in the PEACHTOBER, I was definitely relying quite heavily on Procreate because I just wanted to get through it. I did enjoy PEACHTOBER, but as with all month-long challenges, it's quite difficult when you get to the end and you're feeling a little bit burnt out from doing the same thing every day. But yeah, we did it, guys. We got there. Only a few more days to go. Day 29 was whale. So obviously I just drew a whale. Wanted to draw a humpback whale. I did this one first. What? I don't even understand what that character is. I did this like strange doodle down here. In the end, I just went with this doodle. I drew her standing up, added some little buns which I thought were cute, and I had to make her doing something, so I ended up just making her a little waitress. Coloured her in nice blues and greens, and she's carrying some bottles here. She's not very happy because a table of 8 has just come in at the end of her shift and she has to serve them before she can go home, which if anyone's ever worked in a restaurant, you will know that pain. So yeah, this is my little whale character. Day 30 was pet, and I knew that I wanted to draw the cutest little dog and kind of have the dog be a pet monster of a bigger monster, so you don't see the big monster, you just see the pet. I think I drew this one first, maybe, and then I drew this one here with the big eyes, and I just thumbnailed it out here, so I know there'd be big feet and then a little dog. I based the dog on the papillon, I think that's how you pronounce it. They're really cute, and I added a little crown here because most people think of their pets as very special, and I wanted this monster to feel no different. I tidied it up in Procreate, added some scales to the monster, made the dog a little bit cuter with those big eyes, which is actually I believe the only time I do big eyes in this whole challenge, but because it wasn't a monster, it was the pet, I was okay with that. And we are on the last day, 31, sleepy. As you can tell at this point, I was very over doodling, sketching. I just wanted to come up with an idea. So I thought of this before I sketched it out. I raised it quite a lot here. Normally, in the earlier stages of PEACHTOBER, I would just draw this again, but I just wanted it to be finished, guys. I wanted to draw a koala, so I drew this little face first, and then I thought he could be sleepy. What is he sleepy from? I just recently done a big house clean that weekend, so I drew him sitting on a stool. He's like halfway through cleaning, and I popped him in here and tidied him up, and then I wanted to show a way that he'd basically been napping for so long that he'd fallen asleep. So I drew a little spider web in the corner here. So like basically he's been sleeping for so long that a spider has built a spider web because he's been still for so long. That was my idea basically. And the reason I picked koala is because they sleep the most out of all animals on Earth, which isn't that crazy? So that was the end of PEACHTOBER. It was a super fun challenge, my first time doing PEACHTOBER, and I wanted to pick something simple, which is why I picked the Neocolors, because I thought crayons would be simple. They were, but I think you need to really draw big with them, otherwise you need to do quite a lot of cleanup. And in the end it did turn into a bit of scribble with crayon and then tidy up and Procreate, instead of the initial let's just draw something with crayons, which was my initial idea. But overall, it was a super fun challenge. I love drawing all the little characters and coming up with little backstories for all of them. So that was PEACHTOBER. Let me know which was your favourite character. I think I have a few. It's kind of hard to pick. But yeah, let me know which your favourite character was. How was your PEACHTOBER or your October art challenge? Will you do one next year if you didn't do one this year? And what do you think about them in general? That's all for me. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.